It's time for the Bleed Los Podcast with your hosts, Alonso and Juan, Alicia Del Valle, and the babyface gimmick in the sky, Roger.
Welcome to another episode of the Bleed Los Podcast, and this is an only on YouTube special. So make sure that you guys subscribe, that notification button and that subscribe button, so you are notified of these episodes that are only going on YouTube. And today we're going to be discussing what else? Shohei Ohtani, right? I mean, Shohei Ohtani's been the talk of Dodgers spring training since he's arrived, and today he actually took his first batting practice, right, with someone throwing batting practice with him, and we got coverage of that. You know, there's been so much media of that today, so we're gonna go ahead and discuss it here with Cody. Cody, did you get a chance to check out those videos yet?
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably have to be living under a rock to not see these videos because it's not even just circulating around Dodgers Twitter. You know, I saw Jared Carabas retweeting it. I saw MLB.com retweeting it. You know, like we mentioned on the last episode, the Dodgers love him or hate him, but they are just the storyline team this upcoming season. And Ohtani is a big reason because of that, because, you know, it just seems like now it's really the Ohtani show now. He is on a perennial like World Series contending team. He's coming back off of rehabbing. These were his first swings that he took today. And, you know, all the Dodgers beat reporters that follow the team year in, year out, every day, you know, they were pretty much, seemed like they were all in awe just based off the performance that he brought out there in just his first couple of swings. And, you know, Dodgers media and their marketing team, you know, they're going to get footage of this guy. I feel like this is like, they had to have had at least like 6 different camera angles shot of just him taking BP, because we had side shots, we had the camera right behind home plate, but this is the guy that they're going to market this year. And a lot of encouraging signs from him today. He was making really good contact. The sound of the ball and the bat just coming straight off literally sounded like gunshots. This dude is just an all-around hitter. And just looking at some of the numbers today, they were saying that he had 109 exit velocity today, which Dodgers last year wasn't something that they were super high on. Their hardest hit ball last year was from Jason Hayward, and it was 112 miles per hour. And Ohtani, who's just now taking his first swings, is already reading almost 110. I mean, I'm not too sure what we're going to expect from Ohtani this year. We may get one of his best overall offensive seasons because he's going to be fully 110% focused just on hitting this year. But if you watch this and you're a Dodgers fan, what can't you not get excited about?
Yeah, I hadn't seen that exit velocity. I did see the numbers of, they were putting out like how many swings that he took. It looked like he took 2 rounds of batting practice, right? I think they said like 21 swings and like 10 went over the fence.
Yeah.
So, I mean, almost half his swings were for power. And I did also hear that he did mention that he uses that batting practice kind of to gauge his power. I mean, so if he's already hitting half of those, over the wall, I mean, I think he's feeling pretty good. So, but yeah, once I saw this morning, I saw reports that he was going out to go take batting practice, and we saw some tweets from Fabian Ardaya and Juan Toribio. They posted those first videos of him, in the cage taking those swings. He looks good though. I mean, he looks, like you said, he looks really good right now. I mean, for being the first time out there, I mean, I don't know what else we can expect from him, but I mean, it looks like he's trending in the right direction. And he actually did kind of speak on that too, as far as if he'll be ready for Korea in the opening series. And you actually wrote something regarding that today as well. Can you fill us in on that?
Yeah. If you haven't followed the page, Dodgers Beat, read the website, I'm usually posting articles there at least 3 times a week or even more, depending on what Dodgers news is coming out there. But yeah, one of the storylines of the spring training that you're going to have to look for is Ohtani. And I wouldn't say I wasn't necessarily concerned if he was going to be ready by opening day. It's just some of the comments that they had kind of had me throwing some red flags, where they were just saying, yes, we anticipate him to be ready for opening day. Like, yes, he's progressing well, but they didn't really know how much effort and energy. Like, we still don't know if he's going to get any game time action in any of these spring games. To my understanding, it sounds like at least for the first half of spring training, he won't. It will mainly just be cage work and behind the scenes work for Ohtani. And if you're going to do that, you might as well, if you want to just do live at bats like internally within camp, that may be all that he needs. They may not want to risk further injury to himself before that Korea series, because there's really not that much time when it comes. Once they start playing games, they really only have like a 3-week, 4-week period until the regular season officially starts when they go to Korea. But yeah, he did talk to the media today. He kind of did put some of my worries at ease, where he did say, this was a very good, like the first step. This was him taking high velocity pitching. He's been hitting off a pitching machine. Today was some soft toss, and we obviously saw the power is still there. So I feel like just seeing those swings today and just the effort that he put into those swings, it sounded like he came out of the cages fine. It's just step one of many for him in his recovery. But it sounds like he will be ready opening day. And I think that is just one of the big question marks I had, whereas are the Dodgers really going to push him to be in that Korea series? Because I know the MLB wants him to be there, and it'll be a big time game atmosphere for him to be there representing, that side of the world, even though it is in Korea. So I do anticipate him being ready. It looks like he'll be ready, and yeah, we'll just take it from there.
Another thing that he did mention, and I was happy to hear, if you remember when he ended the season last year with the Angels, he went on the IL, right, with the oblique injury, right? So today he was out there swinging, like you said, full power swing going ahead, and he said, he feels fine from that. Something not to worry about, but I mean, you still want to keep an eye on that, obviously, because those oblique injuries are tricky, and it's been a couple months now, but you always want to keep an eye on those types of things. But yeah, like you're mentioning that Korea series, I feel like, yes, I'd love to see him play in that series, but like only if he's ready, right? Like only if he's ready, because they're gonna go to Korea, then they're gonna come back, and then I think it's maybe another week or so, right, before they actually start the second opening day, essentially, right? Yeah. So also some things you got to consider too is that flight to Korea, right? That's a long flight and a long flight back home. I don't know if you remember a couple years ago when the Dodgers went to Australia. That's kind of when Clayton Kershaw kind of got those back issues. So, you got to take precautions with that flight. But I do want to see him in Korea. I'd love to see him over there, the reaction that he's going to get, just what that's going to be like, right, for him to go to Korea and play in that series, but only if he's 100%, right? And we also did hear of Yamamoto possibly lining him up to get one of those starts in Korea. So, I mean, this Korea series is lining up to be, as we've all thought, it's going to be pretty special, right? And if you get Ohtani and Yamamoto there in those games, I mean, it's going to be really special.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see how the Dodgers really plan their rotation, because realistically, I forget who brought it up, but they really only need 2 starting pitchers to really make the trip. If they didn't really want the whole team to go out there, they don't need to. They really only just need 2 starting pitchers in the bullpen, because it's only a 2-game series. You mentioned the flight; that's a whole thing, and then it is weird that they play 2 games and then they have I think 1 or 2 days off, and then they play 3 exhibition games against the Angels in between LA and Anaheim. So, and then the regular season officially starts when the Dodgers host the Cardinals. So I think it'll be interesting to see how the Dodgers plan it, because I know MLB wants Ohtani there. I know they want Yamamoto there, but a lot can happen between now and the middle of March. So, but I anticipate Ohtani to be ready. I anticipated Yamamoto probably kicking off the start of the year as either the 1 or the 2 starter. I'm kind of curious to see, maybe they just make him the Korea opening day starter, just for, I don't know, wouldn't say fan service, but the magnitude of the atmosphere there, it would make sense. I would say at this point in time, I would say their probably opening day starter should be Glass now, but whoever starts those first 2 games in Korea is probably going to start games 1 and 2 against the Cardinals in the U.S. So I don't think that's far out of the question either. But yeah, I think it is nice that the Dodgers kind of already have. There's not that many questions for spring this year compared to last year. Even the article I wrote today, it was really mainly just about health concerns between Ohtani Gavin Lux and Walker Buehler, it seems like the Dodgers lineup is pretty much set, except maybe, all right, who's going to be the last three batters of the order? The rotation, I mean, that's pretty much set in stone now as well, where, you got Glass now, Yamamoto is your 1 and 2. And then from there on, we know Walker Buehler's getting a delayed start, but then you have Bobby Miller, James Paxton, and then I guess like probably one of the rookie starters from last year and Sheehan or Gavin Stone or Michael Grove. So I feel like the Dodgers they kind of already have their game plan set of what that roster is going to look like. And it's really just getting ready.
So I was kind of looking up the schedule of how it's going to play out. So they're going to be in Seoul on March 17th. So they're going to play a couple exhibition games, right? I think they're going to be playing like the national teams and some of the other teams that are in the league over there. So what do you do with those other games? Do you take some of your rookies? Do you take some of your other starters like Paxton, or are they going to keep them, say, on their schedule, right? If they'd be in Arizona, they're going to be on a kind of, you're going this day, you're going this day. Like, how are they going to do that? Like, are they going to keep those guys on schedule and take them to Korea, or like I said, are they going to just, hey, we'll take a bunch of minor leaguers, get them some work over there, and then we'll go from there. So there is that trip, and then they come back, right? They'll be back on the 24th of March, and they're playing the Angels. So they're going to do 2 games at Dodger Stadium and then 1 at Angel Stadium. Now, it's going to be interesting if we'll see Shohei in any of those games as well, especially the game in Anaheim, because I believe after that, the Freeway Series, I think it's down maybe towards the middle of the season, and I think those first games are in Dodger Stadium, and then finally towards the end of the season, they go back to Anaheim, where obviously we know once Shohei goes back to Anaheim, that's going to be, pretty interesting, how that's going to go. But what do you think they're going to do as far as rotation wise? Do you think they would take some of those starters to get them work, or kind of just use maybe some of their extra arms?
Yeah, I think that's the part where, I think it's going to be unorthodox because obviously they're 2 regular season games, but they're so early in the year where they could probably still plan it as like a very, very early preseason game. They're obviously going to bring the offense, the 1 through 9 are going to be the traditional starters that we know are going to be in there day in and day out. In terms of the pitching, like I mentioned, they really only need to bring 2 of their starting pitchers. And if they're really going to go with Tyler Glasnow and Yamamoto, that's all they need to bring. The rest of it could be the bullpen. I imagine they're still going to have a taxi squad, I guess, with them that's there as well. And then they'll also have in Arizona probably some of the pitchers that I don't think it wouldn't surprise me if Bueller doesn't make the trip because he's just working on a bullpen or something. We don't know if he's going to get spring work this year, but maybe he just doesn't want to make the trip because he has some stuff scheduled with his own rehabbing issues. So they could send another minor league pitcher like a Michael Grove. There's these guys that are kind of on that quadruple A tier that could be making the roster, and that could be opening day A, and then when they come back to the US, then you have the official this is the opening day roster that we're going to be having for majority of the first half of the season. Obviously injuries and stuff change, but I think they're going to play it similar as a just more popular and a more intense exhibition game, which as long as Ohtani and Yamamoto are there to put on a show, nobody's really going to care.
So I want to backtrack a little bit. You mentioned how the Dodgers were recording this, and if you missed any of that footage, right, there's the footage of some of the beat reporters that they put out, but the Dodgers actually sent out some footage, and they put out a couple of tweets of Shohei in the cage, but there's additional footage, right, where they're filming him from the side. It's basically they got him covered all angles, right, and I've never seen that. I was talking to you about this the other day, I've never seen this type of coverage of Shohei Ohtani, right, and I've seen comments to that as well, they've never seen Shohei in the cage like that. One, obviously, I think the Dodgers social media team is above, head and shoulders above the rest of the league. I don't even know if the Angels ever even thought about something like that, right, to showcase him like that. But I mean, it's incredible all that we're seeing of Shohei now that he's a Dodger, right? All these, like I said, it's like he's this superstar that came over his first time in the league, and we're just kind of getting a feel for what Shohei Ohtani is all about.
Yeah. I mean, that goes back to the tweet I mentioned earlier. Jared Carabas, huge Red Sox fan, but his tweet basically pretty much said exactly what you said. He said, "Thank God, like that the Dodgers, who have a great marketing department, are actually gonna market the star player." Like, and the Dodgers have done that extremely well, probably for the past 10 years, where no matter what star player is on their team, I feel like it really got amplified when Mookie Betts came over, which they marketed him extremely well during the 2020 year, even though it was a limited like for the pandemic. But even after that, like, hey, this is our face of our franchise, this is our guy. Ohtani just takes that to a whole nother level, and pretty much everyone around baseball knows that. And Ken Rosenthal was actually asked that question on Foul Territory today. They were like, because we know the Ohtani of the past, where he keeps to himself, he doesn't really do many interviews, and he really just kind of expects that to change a little bit this season, because I think Ohtani is going to understand, the magnitude that it is playing in Los Angeles, playing with the Dodgers. Um, he's going to have to answer more questions. He's going to have to do more publicity. Like he's just going to have to be available more often. Obviously, he still, I assume, probably has the final say in like, yes, I'll do an interview. No, I won't do an interview. And the team will back him 100% of the way. But I feel like this season, we're going to see a lot more Ohtani than we've ever seen before. And I don't know if maybe because now he's in a change of scenery, you put him on a winning ball club with a lot of like superstar players, and we've seen them all mesh together well, even with roster turnover the past 3 seasons. It's going to be something that we haven't seen before on a different level, just because, Ohtani is the face of the MLB right now, and he's on one of the most well-known franchises in all of sports in the Dodgers. So that's just going to be how it is this year. I don't expect it to change. Um, like you said, dude, like the Dodgers, they had that plan. They said Ohtani's taking BP today. Let's get like 8 cameras scattered around the entire cage to get every angle. I think they posted like at least like 5 or 6 clips of just the same bullpen or batting practice round. And if you look at each post, they got like thousands of likes in just a couple minutes. It just speaks to the magnitude of how popular he is.
Yeah, and like we were discussing, like when he was with the Angels, he would only actually speak to the media. I think it was like once a week. It was after his starts, right?
Yep.
So this year he's not pitching, so obviously he's going to have to speak. I'm assuming more than once a week, or I don't know how they're really going to dictate that, but I mean we've seen it already. They showed up in camp last week. He spoke at the end of last week, and here we are Monday, and he's speaking again. So that's 2 times in the span of a couple of days. So I don't know if that's going to be something that's going to continue. But, like I was mentioning before, I do feel like we're going to see a different Shohei Ohtani. I think he's going to be more visible, right, on this Dodgers team. He's probably going to speak to media a lot more.
Yeah.
And the first couple of days it is showing that, and we just can't get enough. I mean, nobody can get enough of Shohei Ohtani right now. He's like, if you go on, we've posted tons of video on our YouTube channel, and those things are just, people just eat it up. They just want to see Ohtani, and they want to see Ohtani. So switching gears a little bit, Mookie Betts is in camp as well. So I think he might have shown up. I don't know if today was his first day out in the field, or he was out there, I think yesterday maybe as well. And he spoke to the media. I kind of found he said some interesting things. They were asking him about second base, how he feels, about playing second base. And he said he doesn't really know yet because, it's been like 10 years, right, since he played second base only. And he also did kind of mention he hasn't really spoken a lot to Shohei. He's kind of just been, hey, what's up? They haven't really made that connection yet. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, from just those 2 points, if you ever watched Mookie Betts throughout his minor league like tenure, he was a very elite second baseman. He was just blocked by one of the best Red Sox players of all time in Dustin Pedroia, so he had to switch. Obviously, we saw him play second base a lot last year. I think he held down the position extremely well. Everybody around the league knows now that he's switching to second baseman, he is undoubtedly the number 1 second baseman on pretty much every top 10 list you're going to look at. And he even mentioned, I believe it was at Fan Fest, that, he's looking for like personal accolades. He wants to get a Gold Glove, and I really think that is obtainable for him. I think him playing second base for at least a full season, bearing any injuries, where if he may have to move back to the outfield, but if he plays a full year at second base, I think he can end up playing a little bit more games. We've seen Mookie Betts kind of been slowed where maybe he'll play like 130 or 140 games. Second base, it isn't that much damning on your body. So there is a possibility that Betts could be on the field for maybe 150 plus games, because we know he's had some freak injuries, especially with the hip. Well, I don't know, like, what hurts really bad with your hip is when you're running that much distance in the outfield. With second base, it's not a lot more movement. It's really just kind of reaction to the the hard hit balls that are toward you. But I expect him to play the position extremely well. I think he has 100% confidence in playing there again. I just think he just doesn't want to really talk to the media too much about it, especially it's his first day at camp. So I assume he just doesn't want to be bombarded by questions. The Ohtani thing did kind of surprise me at first when I heard it, because we expect, like when these guys get traded or when they sign, there's like a huge text chat and they're all just hyping each other up. Where, Mookie Betts has a lot of stuff going on in his personal life. He has his fundraiser. He mentioned that, he has to go home and be a person as well, like especially during the off season where he's spending time with his wife and his kids and his family. So he really kind of has to take away the baseball side of things. And I know he's not the only player. There's pretty much probably almost, I would say, more than half the team hasn't met Shohei yet until this past weekend. So I just think it comes off a little bit weird just because of how, his tone was in the interview. But yeah, I wasn't too surprised after when I thought of it that way. But these guys are going to click. They're going to gel right away because they're going to have the same goal in mind, and that's to win a World Series. And that was something Betts pretty much repeated the entire time with that conversation. He's like, the goal just doesn't change. The goal is to win the World Series.
And I think too, we look at it as like, Mookie Betts is one of the leaders. Freddie Freeman's one of the leaders. So we're thinking like, well, maybe they should be doing this, or, I mean, we don't know exactly what they're doing, right? But there's other guys on this team that maybe we don't think, hey, they're the specific leader on this team, but they do stuff that shows that they are leaders, right? I don't know if you saw Miguel Rojas. He kind of welcomed, I believe it was both of them, right? Yamamoto and Shohei, right?
Yes.
He left a bottle of wine in their locker. I know Yamamoto actually posted it. So we're seeing this from other guys, like you said, that we don't necessarily expect, hey, these are the leaders on the team, from, I guess, just, star status, right? But they're actually leaders in that clubhouse. And I think what Rojas is doing, I think that goes a long way as well.
Yeah, and that's one of the things where throughout this winter, a lot of Dodger fans have, they've complained of Rojas has kind of just taken up a roster spot at this point. And it goes to your point, there's a lot more to being on the roster than just being like an all-star player. You need these type of guys that are gel players that keep the culture in the clubhouse extremely well. And, we talked about him last time as well, where he was talking about like, icebreaker basically activities that they do with new players when they join the team, with Ohtani, where they're saying, oh, we got to get a story out of him where he's going to sit on the toilet in the bus or whatever for the entire ride. You need those types of players, and it doesn't matter what sport you're playing. If you ask any player on any team in any sport, they're going to say there's those types of guys in the clubhouse, in the locker room, that make more of an impact in the locker room than they do on the field, and it goes a long way. And I definitely agree with you. That was a name I was thinking off the top of my head, was Miguel Rojas. I probably think of like Jason Hayward as that type of player as well. And everybody gives shit to Austin Barnes, but Austin Barnes has been around this team for a very long time. He's caught a lot of these young pitchers, and he's formed a lot of relationships. So I definitely know, being as a catcher myself personally, he is definitely having relationships. He's definitely talking ball with all these guys, especially the young pitchers we have. And I believe he was the one that caught Yamamoto's bullpen the other day as well, because I think Will Smith wasn't in camp yet. I think I saw it was a picture of them two fist pumping after the warm up. So that goes a long way as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jason Hayward as well. You mentioned him. He brought, I believe it was like the opening series last year. He left a bottle of, I think it was Camus, right? In every player's locker room too. So he was new to the team, and he kind of like, he's a leader. He's definitely one of the. We've talked to Dave Roberts about it. He is definitely one of those leaders in that clubhouse. He leads by example, and he'll even if he sees something wrong with the player or whatever, he'll go up there and he'll correct them. And I remember there was a story that Dave Roberts told us that he's bought into LA. Like he was wearing the Los Doyers on his shoes, on his cleats. So he's bought into being in LA. This was last season. Dave was saying, this is his first season in LA. And he's bought into this LA culture, LA market. So it's great to have guys like that in the clubhouse. Hayward, like you said, Barnes. I know Barnes is respected a ton in that clubhouse. Last year he had a bad, down year, but the respect for that guy is like off the charts in that clubhouse. One thing you did remind me of when you were talking about the bullpens is, did you see the one with Yamamoto the other day, right? And Shohei was actually watching it,
Yeah.
and then they pan over to Shohei, and he's like, he gives that nod of approval, right? It's just, I mean, that's exciting for fans, right? You're seeing Shohei now, like basically, essentially in his in his nod of approval, saying, "This dude's got it. This dude he's pretty sick. He's got the stuff."
Yeah, I mean, we've heard around camp, Gavin Lux kind of specifically is talking about it. Just, the Dodgers have their numbers behind the scene that expect Yamamoto to translate from Japan to the MLB. And just the way he trains and everything he's done, and in his bullpens, it sounds like he's looking really good. We won't know. I'm itching to see him make his spring debut whenever that is, when we start getting games here. Just because I am excited to see how he does translate in that first batter. I have seen highlights of him in Japan, but there's really not much I can go off of besides like a couple videos here and there. But I want to see him actually dissect a hitter live in a game. Like, what does he do when he's behind in the count? How does he attack guys? He has a very small stature. He is a very unorthodox pitcher. And he is one of those guys that just has like a 5 to, maybe even 6 pitch mix. We don't know what pitches the Dodgers are really going to toy with and what they're going to let him do. But I think, Ohtani played with the guy. He played with him in the WBC. Obviously, he was a huge impact part of them bringing him in to the Dodgers. So him giving that nod of approval is like, yeah, he knows what he's seeing right there. He knows that the Dodgers have someone special, and the Dodgers know that too, or else they wouldn't have given him $325 million.
Yeah. So our first chance actually is going to be when they start doing the live BP, right? So the position players will head into camp middle of this week, right? So I'd say maybe a week after, we'll start seeing some live BP. So we're going to start seeing Yamamoto facing some of these Dodgers, right? All these Dodgers. He's going to face Betts. He's going to face, Muncy and Freeman, right? So it'll be interesting to see after those what these hitters are actually saying, and kind of we're going to get a feel of like what they're actually seeing from Yamamoto now pitching to MLB hitters. So that's going to be interesting in a couple of weeks, and I think we'll know more from then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely, they do report position players. They're starting to arrive at camp now. You mentioned Betts. I think today was his first day. He was getting fielding work in at second base. They officially report, I believe, right on Valentine's Day in the middle of the week on Wednesday this year. So we will start be seeing those, those live at bats. They're going to start running plays. They're going to get ready for those spring games.
It's gonna be it's a fun time to be a Dodger fan, definitely, right? With all this, Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, the team this team has right now. It's really special to see how they're gelling. If you guys missed any of the footage, like we said, any of the batting practice, any of that stuff, we're able to post it on our YouTube. It's up there now. Go check it out. Like I said, it's pretty unreal to see Shohei in that cage, with the way that they're featuring him. So make sure you guys check that out. We'll have more stuff coming hopefully this week. We don't know what the Dodgers are going to be doing, right? What they're going to be releasing every day. So once they come out with stuff, we hope to jump on here and kind of just give you a quick recap of what's going on in spring training. We're posting these only on YouTube. So these will go on our YouTube. They won't be on our actual, podcast page. If you go to download an episode or whatever, just go head on over to the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, make sure you get notified, and check out all these videos. hopefully every couple of days at least, maybe. We'll see how it goes. Once again, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Cody, for coming on, and we'll talk to you guys next time.